man. I never noticed this thing right here. This thing is in the middle of the shot, man. Just not a professional here at the Michael Lab Show. Probably the most narcissistic title someone could ever come up with for a podcast. It's really interesting. When I was going to make the name of my podcast, I wanted something that I didn't have to constantly reinforce that the title was named a certain way. So I wanted it to be about everything and anything at any time, at every time, at any time of the year. And I didn't want to have any restrictions. Like, I didn't want to have to talk about, like, there's so many podcasts out there about serial killers. I didn't want to have to, like, put myself in a niche where I just talk about one thing all the time, because that's just boring. And what if I end up wanting, or what if I become obsessed with something else? What if I start enjoying something else that's like completely opposite of what my podcast is about? Then I would have to completely change the podcast, and it would be a whole rebranding thing, and it would just be an issue, man. It would just be an absolute struggle. So I just decided to go with the Michael Lab Show, which has been up. I think this is episode 28, and I've done almost 50 episodes. I guess we're closer to 50 than we are to 0. And it's great. It's honestly, it's kind of insane to talk about or to even like imagine. I just never expected it to get this. Like, I knew it was going to get this far, but it's just kind of crazy to see that it's there. And I'm sitting here with my cacti looking at episode 28. I'm doing episode 28 for you. And there's people watching it, new people every day, and it's reaching people every day. And it's like when you throw a rock into like a pond or a body of water, the ripples of the water just keep going out, and they keep going out, and they keep on hitting new parts of the ocean or new parts of the water. And that's kind of how I feel with this podcast. It just keeps on growing, and people keep on picking it up. And yeah, it's fun. It's really cool. It's really exciting. And I enjoy the process of just learning about myself, and I enjoy the process of learning about the guests that I have on. And a lot of people want to see more guests, or at least they ask me how I can just sit here for an hour and just talk. And it's honestly, at the end of the day, it's like one of those things where I don't know. I want to have a lot of guests on, but the issue is I want this podcast to just be free flowing. And I know for a lot of people, it's hard to be in front of a camera. It's not easy. It's not easy to be in front of a camera. It's not easy to talk, especially for an hour. And it's not easy to be okay with talking and having other people listen to you. I think a lot of people get scared that what they're going to say doesn't reflect positively in the world, or what they say may not be the way that they wanted to say it. And so with the podcast, I find that when I just sit here and I just talk, I can get across everything, and I don't want it to be uncomfortable for my guests. Like, so I have plans with this show where I want to find like space and commercial space so I can have like a studio. So it's just much more easier to have guests in and out, and they won't feel as uncomfortable, and I'll feel more confident with being able to just talk to them and just being able to have a conversation with them. But yeah, that's something that I am working towards. The guests I've had on so far are people I genuinely love, and people that I really care about, and people that I can sit down and talk to for a good bit of time. Like the one I did with my dad, we could have talked for 3 hours plus, and that's something that I think is super important in the podcast world. It's interesting because this is one of the shows where it's like one of the podcasts I watch where there's not really an agenda. Like, there's nothing I'm trying to get across. And I think the best podcasts in the world do that. And that's kind of how I want it to be. I don't want it to ever have a particular niche. Like, I just want it to be free-flowing conversation. And I think that's what people enjoy the most. That's what I enjoy listening to when I listen to podcasts. That's what I enjoy listening to. I enjoy listening to podcasts like Joe Rogan, obviously. Jocko Willink, I like his a lot. I like a lot of comedians, Bert Kreischer, Fighter and the Kid, Theo Vaughn, a lot of comedians. And then I like people like Eric Weinstein, Lauren Krause, Jordan Peterson. I just like variety, and I think if you can just sit down and talk for a while, I think variety will eventually come out. So that's kind of how I feel with the whole podcast. I enjoy doing it, and you guys are amazing, and it's, dude, it's easy too. It's fun and it's easy. But yeah, guys, so it's been a busy week. I never realized how stressed out I get. I had a lot of exams coming up. I had three exams this past week, 4 in the past 2 weeks. I have 2 on Tuesday. I think you guys are going to be watching this podcast, I think maybe, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday, maybe Monday. I'm not too sure when I'll put it out. That's one thing I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about changing my episodes 3 to 4 days in between episodes instead of 1 day in between episodes. And the reason for that is, honestly, it's just exhausting doing so many episodes. Not exhausting in the sense that I didn't want to do it, but in the sense that when I have other things going on, it's hard to kind of still squeeze the podcast in. And like I said, as much as I'd love to do it, I still got to be able to be successful in other things outside of the corner of my bedroom. That's kind of important. It's kind of important to have a job, make money. It's kind of important to go to college, for me at least. And it's kind of important for those things to do well. And if the podcast has to take a day off or 2 days off, then that's okay. That's okay. I was thinking about it. I was like, I get upset when I can't post a podcast, but it's selfish for me to think it's very self-absorbed to think that other people get really angry if I don't put up an episode. I know that hopefully no one cares about it that much where they're pissy if there's not an episode. And I was thinking about I don't get upset if some of my favorite entertainers don't post content. I don't get mad at them because I know they eventually will. So when they do, I get even more excited. I get more excited to watch it. But man, it's just been an exhausting week, and I went to bed last night just absolutely tired. At work, I was trying so hard to stay awake. I hit the wall. I hit the wall physically middle of the week, but mentally and emotionally I was just crushed, and I was bleeding everywhere. When I get really stressed out and I get very anxious, I'm shrinking my eyes up right now. I just bite my fingernails, and I bite them and I bite them and I bite them and I bite them. I don't stop biting them, but I never really realized how bad it gets. I'm never sitting there and I'm constantly aware that I'm biting my fingernails until I'm taking an exam or I'm writing notes from the lecture, and I see that there's blood on the paper. So I don't know if you guys can tell. Maybe if I put my hands there. I really got to feed these cacti. I haven't fed these cacti yet. Feed them. You don't feed them. You give them just water. But I think I gave them so much water that one time I'm scared to do it again. But I'll definitely have to give them more water. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 of my 10 fingers were bleeding last week from just biting them. And I do that when I get really stressed or I get anxious. And I do it because it just distracts me from it's like a level 2 version of procrastination. It was just a crazy week, so many exams, and I did decent on them. I didn't do great, but I did enough to maintain really good grades in school. And since my GPA is so shot from dropping out and just not going to class and just being an idiot, I'm at a point where I really, really have to perform well in school, which you'd think would be really stressful, but it's not too stressful. And the reason why I say it's not that stressful is because I'm looking at it like this. All right, man, okay, I have to do really well in school. I get it. I have to do really well in school, and I have to try really, really hard in school, and I have to I have to perform a certain way so I can move on to the next step. I was talking to Taylor about this, and she gets really nervous if she doesn't do well on an exam, and it feels like it just spirals out. Once you lose control of a thought, it could just become a bowling ball that's just gonna crush you. And that's kind of what happens with her, and that can happen with me sometimes, where it's like, if you have something that you have to do, if you have a quota that you have to hit, if there's something that you set for yourself that you have to achieve, and if there's any type of slip up along the way that makes that picture less clear, like it makes the picture less clear, and that goal just seems to get a little bit farther and farther away, it will stress you out. It will freak you out. And I was realizing this, and I like sat down and I was like, but there's nothing you can do about it, and it's one of those things where it's like, there's nothing I could do about it. Like, I can't change my GPA. The only thing I can do right now is like, I can't just hit a magic wand and make my GPA in the future just get so much better. It just doesn't work that way. I have to just take baby steps. So my fingernails will say otherwise. My fingernails will say, well, you suck at that, and you freak out about everything, and you're bleeding all over the paper. One time I circled what I do, I was taking an exam, and I like circled my paper, and I put an arrow to it, said that is blood. And it was last semester at the community college, because I was bleeding all over the paper, just like, a few little dots, because I had like black pants. I just kept on rubbing it on there. So I like circled it, and my professor like gave me back the exam. He just looked at me like, what the hell? Like, like that's nothing you really want to ask questions about, especially at community college. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You don't know the kind of people that you have going to the schools. Nothing against the community college. I mean, I'm not going to be the first. I'm not going to hate on it, because I've spent many of years, too many semesters, many days of my life just sitting there at community college, listening to people talk about nonsensical things and watch people with little skunk tails run around and rub each other's tails with each other. They're called furries. It's a whole sect of the population called furries. They actually have a meeting. They have like FurryCon. They have a fur. I'm not making it up. They have talking about FurryCons. They have a FurryCon in Baltimore, where they have, because if you identify, like, you're allowed to identify as a raccoon or like as a possum, and you're not. You can't be crazy. Like, if that's what you feel like you are, that's what you are. So they have they have a big festival every year in Baltimore, where they all invite, where all the furry people get together. Not people. Well, all the furry animals get together, and they strap on their furry tails. Just a wide variety. They have beavers tails, they have raccoon tails. They have deer knobs. Deers have tails. Possum tails, just long, nasty, skinny ones, like a big rat. That's basically what a possum is, just a big rat. Anyways, they all go down there, and they all talk to each other, which is weird, in the sense that if you are an animal, like you're like a beaver, you don't really see beavers and squirrels ever talking to each other. So it's one of those things where I'm always like, I understand, like, if you want to feel like a beaver, you can feel like a beaver, but you got to act like a beaver. Like, you don't see humans crawling off. Like, if I decide to be a bear one day, or like if a bear decided to be a human one day, they wouldn't come up to me and start talking bear. Like, they'll growl at me, and I have to, they have to be, they got to act like me. I got to act like a bear if I want to be a bear. And like, if you want to be a rat, you can't go over there and like, rub the tail of a beaver. Because they don't do that. I've never seen a rat give a beaver a tail job. But so that's what was running around the community college. There was a lot of those people. There was also, you see it in Baltimore a lot. Trump was right when he said Baltimore's just filled with rats. Every once a year you get a decent amount out there. But now that I said that, and I shouldn't have said that, and I probably won't edit that out, but it is a thing, and I respect people who do it. It takes a lot of work. I wouldn't do it. It's just not for me. I don't want a tail coming from my butt. I think it's cool being like the only bipedal animal in the world who's vertical, and we can stand straight up, which I think is pretty cool. Like, we stand straight up and erect, which is kind of crazy. Like, it seems so simple to like evolution to come to a human and like bipedal animals that stand erect, that are balanced front and back, but it wasn't like, it's so like luck of the draw. Like, I was thinking about Earth yesterday, and I've been thinking about Earth yesterday. I've been reading this bottom book right here. You can't see it. It's called Something Deep Inside. And I know it's at the bottom of the pile, so you would think I don't read it, but I do read all these books. I have read all these books, but this one right here is all about quantum mechanics, which quantum mechanics to me, it still is basically just like, because I don't know what it means, but that's why I'm reading it. And it's very interesting to read. But by reading it, I've been thinking a lot more about Earth, and I've been thinking about how about this world that we live in, where there's like climate change and people are like losing their mind over climates and stuff like that. And it affected, not me personally. Give me 1 second. I'm drinking this lemonade, these like lemonade rock stars right here, top of line. They had a marshmallow one. So bad. Like fruit drinks. Ooh, sounds good. If you know anybody who opens up a soda and opens up anything that has a top like that, a rock star or whatever it is, you open it and they don't take a drink of it, they just put it down at this right when they open it. I'm talking right when you open it. You don't sip it, you don't try it, and you don't make noise after you sip it. You don't go like, or like, oh, that was good, or if you don't do anything like that. If you just open it up, hear the click, look around like a dimwit, you just look around and you just put it back down, and it never once touches your boca. That's a crazy person. And you shouldn't be friends with those people. You should help those people. You should take care of them. You should tell them to look out for themselves, and you should just tell them that wasn't a threat. You know what I meant. I didn't mean it like I was going to take you out, but I mean it like, if you notice that you start getting deep thoughts, you need to go take care of yourself. Because every time you open a drink that has a little aluminum thing at the top, you have to take a sip. See? That's so good, dude. That's why I'm so tired, because I'm just shutting off my adrenal glands because of all this caffeine. My body's just no longer producing natural energy. It's just getting it straight from these freaking artificially nonsensical caffeine heart attack drinks. But I love them. I recommend them to everybody. They're delicious. Keep at it. Monster and Rockstar and Bang Energy can go shit on my ass, because they're slowly... I shouldn't have said that. You always shit on your ass, you shit out of it. But I've been thinking a lot about climate change lately. And the reason why I've been thinking about it is because in DC a few weeks ago, there was like Monday, or it's probably this week, the week of the 20, so what's today, the 27th maybe? It's Friday, so what was that, 6, 5, 4, 3, so I guess the 23rd of September 2019 on Monday, these, I don't know, these people, that's a good word, I'm going to stick with that word. I'm not going to say anything. These people went out to the middle of DC, which is fine. You have a right to do this. But there's this, and they were protesting about climate change, and I get it. I understand. But there's two things that cross my mind. Well, a few things. One of them is, I don't, like, maybe the president's not even home. Like, he could also just not be at the White House. So them protesting at the White House while the president's not there seems a little crazy to me. Seems a little ironic. I feel like you should know when he's there. Or I don't know how you could get his schedule. I don't think Trump gives it. Now, I will say, if any president does get out the schedule, it would probably be Mr. Donald Trump. But I feel like if you're going to protest, you need the person that you're protesting to be at the location. It would be like egging a house after it's been foreclosed. Like, it just doesn't do the same. Like, here's a story. One time when I was younger, I took a shit in a bag and I put it on someone's front porch. The only reason why it was funny is because somebody, I knew somebody was home, and they came out and they saw the shit. They like said something, and I think they ended up being one of my basketball coaches back in the day. And now I feel bad, and I don't know if they watch the podcast, and if they do, I'm sorry. But that was me. I'm guilty. I was a fat kid who took a shit in a Target plastic bag and put it on your porch. Didn't light it on fire, though. I was not into fire at the time. Still not. But, yeah, it'd be like egging a house, and after it's been fully closed and no one's home, it's just... I'm not much of a protester. Like, you won't catch me really protesting anything. I don't care too much about, like, stuff. Like, I don't know. I do care a lot about things, but I'm also somebody who, like, I don't refuse the other viewpoint. Like, you can tell me the most ironic thing. Like, something that I've really been watching heavily lately, which it's going to make me sound like a crazy person, which, honestly, this episode right here, I just sound crazy. I think it's because I'm sleep deprived and I'm tired. But it's weird because I slept until 9:30 today. You remember 9:30 used to be, like, getting up early when you were really young? Sorry about that. Just had a bunch of tater tots with pepper jack cheese. And I am dieting with that intermediate fasting. And if it fits you macros, best diet. And if you know anybody out there who's telling you another way to diet, get on them and just fast. Don't eat till 12 minimum. I usually eat till like 4 p.m. And then my last meal is like right before I go to bed. Then I just count my calories and I lose weight. Like, people ask me how I lose weight. I'm like, oh, I eat less. And they don't like the response, but that's just like that is the only response, you know. That's the only response you can give because everything else is just bullshit. It's like when the teacher in English used to tell you to write a paragraph, but your paragraph's too short, and then you ask them, well, did you get the point? Did you understand what I was going for in the paragraph? They're like, yep. And then you're like, well, then what's the point? What's the issue here? You understood exactly what I was saying with not all those bullshit words. Doesn't that make me more of a better writer? Don't you want to get the point across? Like, no, you got to be more descriptive. I'm like, well, what are you thinking about? I wrote, grass, open field grass with the sound of classical piano music. What are you thinking of? Oh, a cute little meadow out in the middle of Illinois. You didn't need any more description. Like, that's what your brain picked up. Like, you don't need any more descriptions. Like, my idea is I'm trying to make the reader more creative. Haha. What was I talking about? Egging houses? Shitting in bags? Climate control? Oh yeah, protesters. Yeah, if you're gonna protest, you like I said, it's like you want to go there when the person is there, whenever is there. You also, I don't think you can go that early in the morning. I think you probably want to go later in the day. And the reason why I say that is because you want to go when everyone's getting off work. Okay, the president's not there. That sucks. Whatever. He's probably not there. He's probably out golfing in Florida or whatever. But the House of Representatives or the senators might be there, and they're kind of like, they're important. Like they're part of the corrupt world that we live in. You might be able to get them. You want to get them as they're getting off work because then they're walking to the car. They might be able to see your colorful signs with seals with bags over their heads and turtles with, metal things coming out of their noses. And they might be able to see that. But if you're doing it in the middle of the day, like not like early in the morning, like 9 a.m., 8 a.m., just I don't know. If I were to lead a protest, I would do it when everyone's getting off work, especially on Monday, because everyone's probably pissy that it's Monday. So you can get a reaction. You might be able to get punched in the face or something by a senator, and that might be able to go viral, and then that might work out for you. I think it'll work out for you. It makes sense to me. Also, that was the one thing is they pissed me off because they were doing it the wrong way, which always makes me mad. If I don't know, you just got to put more thought into it, and then I would respect it a little bit more. Also, like, come on, dude, it's Monday morning. People got to work, bro. Like, most people don't. Like, if you care about climate control. And, like, I don't know. There's probably get some pushback for this. Okay, so I care about the climate, so let me get that straight before I get trashed for that. But no, like, if you recognize that the Earth is getting hotter, well, then most likely you're probably doing pretty well in this world. And, like, I think that's really important. Like, I think understanding that if you understand that the average temperature of the Earth is getting hotter and animals are going extinct because of humans, I think you're probably doing pretty well. And by you standing in the middle of a major intersection in Washington, D.C., you could easily, most likely, definitely were, and you probably did, affect somebody out there who just doesn't care about climate control. And like, you have this freedom of speech and you have this ability to go out there and talk and protest, but dude, get the hell out of the intersection. Like, what are you doing? Go somewhere else, bro. Like, these people that need to go to work, this, like the janitor who is probably going to the National Art Museum to just sweep up the floor, getting off work, and they just want to go home and see the family or whatever. Or, you know, somebody who needs to walk across the intersection because they got to go somewhere. And they probably don't care about the climate. Like, you are impeding that from people. And I think that's not cool. Like, that's not cool. Like, no one, like, DC literally designed a huge mall for you to protest. Like, go do that. Take advantage of that. That's what the mall's there for. The mall's there for people who just stand there and just, like, fucking, I don't know, protest. Like, I don't like it when like, these protesting and these activists get in the way of, like, people who are trying to just survive. You know, like cool. Like, you don't work on Mondays mornings. Like, okay, I get it, but like, don't ruin it for everybody else. There's people out there who need that Monday and can't be late for their job, and they can't be late to go to the babysitter. They can't be late getting off work and going to see their kids as they're waking up in the morning. It's fucking nonsense, dude. It's just stupid. It's fucking stupid. Like, there was this chick on CNN, I think, or Fox, or it doesn't matter. I don't care which one it is, but they were on there, and this girl's like a girl from Europe, and she's like 9 years old, pointing her finger at the crowd, saying, like, she's freaking out about how the world's getting so hot and how we're gonna go extinct. I'm like, good, like, let us go extinct. Do you see us? Like, we're not the best, like, group of people. You know, and like, we're just crazy, stupid animal chimps that have just gone crazy with technology. You know, it's like everyone's talking about like a mass extinction in 10 to 12 years. Good. We're a bunch of idiots. Like, come on, man. Like, why is there a 9-year-old there on national TV pointing her finger saying, we're not gonna forget about this? Who's we, bro? Who's we? Are you talking about kids? Because if you're talking about kids, and I don't agree with you. What are you talking about? And like, I don't know, like the world is getting hotter, and you can't deny that. And if you deny that the world is getting hotter, then no one needs to talk to you, because the science is there and the proof is there, and the proof is in the pudding, like they would say. But when you get people who are just, I don't know, just saying things for, attention, it gets weird. Like, I saw that. And you get so immune to it. Like, you get so immune to all of this just craziness going on in the world. And, like, the world is getting hotter. And, I don't know, people saying the world's going to end in 10 to 12 years. Like, that, I think she's Hispanic, maybe. Or she's Puerto Rican. It doesn't matter what her ethnicity is. But that president candidate from New York, she's, like, 25. And she's always, like, losing her mind about, like, the world's going to be over in 12 years. And it's just one of those things where, I don't know. It's so complicated. And for us to think that the world's going to be over in 12 years is a fucking joke. Like, we're not the center of the universe. Like, we're not. Like, humans are not the center of the universe first. And we're taught that we are. And we are a very advanced species. And we are the most advanced species in the world. I mean, I just got done reading this book right here, The Human Instinct, which talks about how, sorry, there's something in my eyes. Talks about people, or Homo sapiens, are very special in the sense that we're the first species that can look back and recognize the past. Like, no other species does that. No other species, like, can look millions of years back from the past. And, like, we're also the first species that are, as far as we know, intrinsically conscious. Like, we're aware of our thoughts. We're aware of when we have bad thoughts. We have this ability to not always act on our impulses. All of the animals, they just act upon what they are. Like, that's what they do. And it's just so crazy to think that the world is going to end in 12 years. Like, no, that's not how it works. We will die in 12 years if those things happen. You know, like, yeah, we'll die in 12 years, but the world will just keep going, dude. It would just keep moving, and birds will keep chirping, and Cockroaches will keep cockroaching around, and rats will keep killing things, and falcons will keep snatching babies, and it's gonna keep moving, man. It's gonna keep moving. But you don't want to believe that. Like, you don't want to believe that we're nothing more than just a bag of bones and organs. And like, I don't want to come off nihilistic, because I'm not nihilistic now. I used to be a very nihilistic person. Oh, before I move on, keep protesting. Just make sure you keep it like in like a park or something, or like not in the road. Also, do it if the person that you want to protest to, make sure they're home before you like do it. I wouldn't suggest knocking on the door at the White House. That probably wouldn't go over well. Do you remember when there was like a bomb scare that was going on in DC at the White House? And I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but when I saw it, man, literally as like it was going that there's a bomb scare, within 30 seconds, the entire White House lawn was covered with Secret Service men, just covered with Secret Service men, and women. And it was like, I was like, where do they come from? Like, do they just transform from a blade of grass to like this fucking 6'4", just rock solid muscle man? Like, I was just blown away. Like, I was thinking, especially now with Donald Trump as the president, there's probably a lot of people that would rather him not be alive. And I couldn't imagine the strain that probably puts on the Secret Service, because he does whatever he wants. He does whatever he wants. He says whatever he wants. He's on a fucking publicly traded company. He became president off of publicly traded companies. Like, Facebook and Twitter made him president. But yeah, just make sure you pick the right area. Make sure the dude's home. But yeah, dude, like, the world could potentially end, but I don't know. It's the first time. Like, the world has experienced mass extinctions before, but they always come back. Yeah, bring them all, man. Kill off a few billion people and bring back the dinosaurs. Wouldn't that be tight? We would be dead so fast. We would have two mass extinctions within like 100 years. We would have, like, I guess the water would like take out the Bahamas, and the water would take out most of New York City, most of California. I'm trying to think what else if the water came up too high. It would take out most of the world, because it would take out a lot of the coastal regions. Also, like, a lot of places in India and Florida and Louisiana are kind of already underwater. So it would take out those places. New Orleans would definitely go. But dude, imagine if I would definitely be dead, because I live too close to the water. You would have to like go into Wyoming. But even Wyoming, like, the issue with Wyoming is that's where they actually, like, the real scientists, the people who study the end of the world, which, Jesus Christ, dude, that's got to be a depressing field of study. It's probably like end of the worldology or some stupid stuff like that. But yeah, but you can't go to Wyoming now. You can, but people also believe that Wyoming, like, the scientists believe that's actually where the end of the world's going to happen from, because the Wyoming as a state sits right on top of a massive volcano. Massive volcano. I mean, that's what Wyoming is. Wyoming equals a volcano. Like the Yellowstone Park, people are like, "Oh my God, look, it's a geyser! Look at the geyser!" And it's like, "Oh no, that's just very hot water flying out of as translating into smoke and just flying out of the freaking volcano's mouth." It's like when you're a kid and you put a straw in a thing of water and you just blow into it, and the bubbles would come up like that. Like that's what Yellowstone is. It's just a massive volcano, and they honestly think that's what's gonna, if the world is gonna come to an end, it'll be from the volcano just blowing up in Wyoming. In that case, I'm dead too, because I just, I'm too close to it. I'm like in a plane. I think I'm like, I don't know, 6 hours away from Wyoming, that area where the stupid humans try to play with the bison. Did you see that video? You see that video? The chick running up to behind a huge bison, like treating it like it was a farm animal, and the bison just like ran at her and just threw the little chick up in the air. What are you doing? Like, don't do that. Don't play with bison. I had a few bison that live up right near me, like 2 minutes away by car. On a really good day of running, probably 12 minutes, I might be able to sprint there. That translation, that if you could do the math, you could realize that I'm not a fast runner. If you just kind of break down 2 minutes in a car, 12 minutes running, how fast do you sprint? Probably sprints 14 miles per hour, or probably not that fast. But anyways, I've been also thinking a lot about like, so this book has been like, I've been all over everywhere in this episode, but this book talks a lot about quantum mechanics, which I don't really understand. But what I do understand most about quantum mechanics is the position and velocity of something is always changing. And you can't physically, I'm so sorry if there's a scientist out there or anybody who's smart, because I'm just destroying your 8 years of studying this stuff. But we have this piece of paper, and we think this paper's still. This cactus is still. And it's because we give more, we value, there's more of a, objects that are larger in nature, especially if they're living objects, we put way higher at the hierarchy of like importance. But we understand the importance of like atoms and that they make up these objects, but we don't recognize them as their own organism. Like in the same way that this cactus is a cactus, we don't say, oh no, this is just a cactus that is this color because the colors of the atoms and the cells within it that make it up this shape. And it's this long and this big because that's all, everything that's working inside of it, that's all it can keep right now. Like if it was bigger, it would die. If it was smaller, it would get bigger so it can, you know what I mean? No, you probably don't, because I don't. But like quantum, I don't know. I don't even, but what I'm kind of learning from the book is that everything is always moving. Nothing is ever still. And these are like, I've learned like the difference between like a field, like a gravity field is something that is, the reason why it's like curved like that, and the reason why gravity is not as strong as some parts of the galaxy as some other parts, it's the way that it's like laid over the Earth's surface. I think that's it. God damn it, dude. I don't know, man. What the hell do I know? Like, I think that's why water boils at such a lower temperature when you get up in the mountains, like really high up in the mountains, because there's less pressure pushing down on the heat, you know? There's less pressure because the gravity's not as strong. So it can get hotter quicker. Oh, I should end it right there. That was just embarrassing. But basically everything's always moving because the atom is always kind of like more or less just shaking and vibrating because that's how it stays alive. That's how the energy works. And but since I've been reading this book, I've been thinking a lot about like the end of the world, obviously, as you can tell. And I've been thinking about these like climate activists and all these people losing their mind and freaking out on national TV, looking like they're like this kid screaming at us how older people are they're just ruining the world and all about capitalism. And she's not even in school yet, and you know, and she's saying this to the United States when she's not even from the United States, which is super weird. I don't know how anyone ever picked that up. Like she came all the way over here to yell at us. Like she yelled at the United States, like, "Hey man, the EU's not doing too great either. Like you guys aren't doing your best. What are you doing over here? What about China, guys? They have no regulations. Like China's kind of just like." I mean, everybody smokes there in China. And guess what? Asians have a gene where they don't die as much as, as most other people. I think there's a gene, and that's why Asians can smoke for so long. I think they have a gene that doesn't, like, the chances of getting lung cancer are so much lower. I think that's factual. I'm not sure. I hope it is. But, like, she wasn't even, like, from the United States. I was like, what are you doing? Like... And I had like the sense of disappointment. I was like, why don't we have any activists here that are doing that? But yeah, man, I was people then how people say, hey, how you doing? I always have something different that I say every week. This week people say, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing well, just waiting for a big rock to take out a little rock. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't you just find it wild that we're out here just like jumping around on a rock, putting trampolines on top of it, swimming in the water or the rock, and meanwhile we're just like, our earth is just up there just playing like dodgeball from these other like rocks to go, like these big ass meteorites are coming in and our earth's just like trying to take out, like trying to avoid these big huge rocks. And it's just like, as complicated as the world gets and as complicated as our life become, and the more and more things that we have to do as individuals, the more and more things that stress us out, at the end of the day, dude, we would all die like this if our stupid earth ate too many Twinkies and it wasn't light on its feet anymore and it didn't dodge that meteorite. That meteorite just takes us out and just blows us up, and we would just be dead so quickly. Everything we know would be gone. Everything that we loved would be perished. We would be gone from this world. We would be gone from the world if that happened. I think I was beginning of the podcast that says something about, I've been watching a lot of these interviews with James Holmes, who's a gentleman who shot up the Aurora, California. I've had 3 concussions, man. My speech is struggling. And I think this is like, with these podcasts and the job I work, I talk to people all night. I think my mouth gets a little exhausted. Anyways, I've been listening like these interviews with James Holmes, who's a gentleman who shot 12 and murdered 12 people and injured 70 people in the movie theater out in Colorado, Aurora, which, first of all, 70 people in a movie theater scares the hell out of me. It always has before, and even after that shooting, it just scares me. I'm the kind of guy that goes to the movie theater by myself at 2 o'clock in the middle of the day with all the old people. I only go to movie theaters by myself and with my girlfriend. And if we go in the evening, it's definitely not it's got to be a time when no one's going to be there. I don't like that. I'm also the creepy dude in the middle of a movie theater. I will stop watching the movie, turn around, watch the people watch the movie. Try that. Try it. Don't judge me. Try it. It's actually hilarious to do. You watch everybody else watch the movie. You're like, dude, the robots have been taking us over. Or like, not even robots, but like this movie is made by a human being that is controlling us. Like, do you ever realize so many movies that people have seen that rule that the people who have power, a lot of their ideas and thoughts came from movies and stuff and came from books? Isn't that's just so crazy to me that through movies and like this book right here, The Catcher in the Rye, inspired people to kill people. That is just so, like, if there was a pill that only costs you like $16, like, hey, take this pill, you'll kill somebody within a year and feel no remorse. Like, there's books out there that are like $12 that make people just do crazy things. There's movies that make people lose their minds. There's video games that make people lose their minds. Anyways, I've been watching a lot of his. He has like it's after the shooting and he's sitting down with the psychiatrist and it's like 5 interviews. Each one's about 4 hours long. And I've gotten through the first one. I've gotten through part of the third one. I know I skipped. But as I'm watching this, it's been about a week now. As I'm watching, I'm like, dude, I really desperately want to see the movie coming out, The Joker. I've been wanting to see this movie for weeks now, probably a month or so, maybe a month and a half. And I've just been desperately wanting to see this movie because I'm just so fascinated with psychopaths and like how they become who they are. And I was very interested in who the Joker was because in all the movies, the Joker is a crazy person, but he's a crazy smart person. And he's not a really physically violent person. I mean, he is very violent, but he's not like out there just killing. Well, I guess he is, but he's like smart. He's a really smart sociopath. And I'm waiting for this movie to come out, and then I have this realization, like, I don't know. I don't think I want to see this movie in theaters. I don't want to see this movie in theaters, and I don't think you should. And it's one of those things where it sucks because, like, I've been telling people this, and they're like, oh, no, I'm seeing the movie. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, but this is, if there's a movie coming out now within the next 10 years, this is going to be a movie where I think if there's a possibility that there's a shooting, it would be most likely this movie. And I don't want to say that, and I feel bad for saying it, and it makes me feel sick to my stomach, but this movie is literally about a person from childhood becoming crazy, becoming a psychopath, and acting on their thoughts, and wearing makeup. I mean, every time a superhero movie comes out, people wear their superhero outfits. People are going to do that to this movie. They're going to be wearing makeup. And it's just, I don't know. It just really scares me. Like, I don't want anyone to get hurt. But, so, like, for this movie, I'm super excited to watch it, but it's definitely going to be a movie that I am going to just get some wine, enjoy it by myself, sit back at the house, maybe with Taylor, and just watch it. I want Taylor to watch it with me, but at the end of the day, it's also like, I don't want her to judge me. And you know, when you're watching a movie with somebody and you are just so excited to watch it, you want to watch it so bad, you want to like it so bad, and then the person you watch it after it, they're probably like, it was a good movie. Or sometimes they say, what is this? Or sometimes they're like, I didn't really like that movie. They say right after it, or they say it like a week later, and you're like, fuck you, you son of a bitch. I don't want her to not like the Joker because I want to like it, and if I don't like it, then she can not like it. But I don't want to not like her because she doesn't like the movie. But yeah, that's about it, man. I don't have too much more to cover. About 50 minutes into it. Just yeah, dude, busy week. I think I might tape on my finger so I don't bleed all over my test. I was so worried I did it the first time that I circled it. Like, looking back at it now, it's like I circled it because in my head, I hit the paper, and my first thought was, fuck. Damn it, man. Now I gotta get a new paper because my OCD was like, no. But then I was like, should I circle it or should I not circle it? If I circle it, I look crazy. But if I don't circle it, I don't want him, like, this is how crazy my mind went. I went, if I don't circle it and he touches it, what if I have AIDS and I don't know I have AIDS, and he gets AIDS, and then he sues me for giving him AIDS, and then I'm broke in jail with no money, and I have AIDS. So, I gave him a warning. I circled it, and then I turned it into him. Smart guy. Smart move. That's a power move. That's a power move. Oh, man. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. Try this lemonade flavor if you guys haven't tried it yet. But I sincerely do appreciate everybody who's been helping the podcast grow and grow every day. We're getting closer and closer to being able to get out of this room, hopefully, and finding a studio space. I was looking at a place in Crofton. If you guys know anybody who could supply something, just let me know. It definitely is a goal of mine. I don't need a lot of space. I just basically need a corner. And I just want it to be out of the house so I can have more people over, make it feel more comfortable. Yeah, I just feel a little more comfortable in it. Because even at the house, sometimes you don't want to say like crazy things because it's your house. You're like, oh, I grew up here and got my diaper changed over there. And, you know, it just gets a little uncomfortable at times. But don't know this brewing company's hat, but it's a cool hat. And I'm that guy who does that stupid stuff like that. But if you guys enjoy the podcast, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, if you guys are listening to this on audio, please leave it a rating. Leave it a review. Yeah, those two things help me out so much. I want to get the audio listeners up higher. They're not too high, but I do want to get up higher. One other thing. Oh, yeah, if you guys want to follow the Instagram page for the podcast, it's called Michael Labs Show, not just MICHAELLABSSHOW, Michael Labs Show. Show some love there. I basically just post every time I upload a new one. I'm also thinking about doing like clips for the YouTube channel, taking like things I say, subjects, and just putting out like 10-minute videos here and there. Let me know what you guys think about that, guys. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this podcast here. If you guys enjoyed it, please show some mad love. Telling people about it, that helps me more than anything. All you have to tell them is just Michael Labs. You can find my page if you just put that on YouTube or Google. Just Google Michael Labs YouTube or just Michael Labs podcast, and it should be able to come up. But I got to get ready. I got to go to work. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I'll see you guys in episode 29. We're closing on episode 30, closer to 100 than we are to negative 35. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good week.